Hi guys, in this video we are going to design a simple news app where we are going to display the news. So it can be called as InShort clone because it will show the news based on our categories. So after completion, the application will look like this. It will have an category tab where different categories are listed. So for business, if you want to see business related news, we can select the business card and then all the news that are related to business will be displayed. So in this way, we are going to design our application. For entertainment, all the news related to entertainment will be displayed. Then similarly for general one, health one, and same for science and sports. So for this application, we are going to create two screen. First one is category screen, which will show the categories. Next one is the news screen, which will show all the news. Then the category card. Here we can see there are 6 category cards: business, entertainment, general, etc. And news card. News card will be the this rounded corner simple cards. Then we will create a model, category model, because we want to store these 6 categories. And for API, we are going to use this Saurabh Tech News API, which is this, where we need to pass the category of which category we want to see the news. Suppose we want to see health news, then we need to pass health. Suppose we need to see the business news, then we need to pass business here. And next thing we need to take care is that here we need to pass the country code for which country news we want to see. Suppose for India, the code will be passed as ION. There are different country codes, such as for USA it is US, for Australia it is AU, for Russia it is RU. Similarly, and the categories that are available are these 7 categories. Okay, so let's design the application step by step. For designing the application, first go into the CMD when we need to create an Flutter application. Use the Flutter create command to create an app. I will name it as InShort clone. Then it will create a basic Flutter template. Let's go into the InShort clone and open it inside VS Code. Okay, this is the basic template that we get after creating a Flutter project. It will have an main file inside the lib folder. There will be an run app where it is the basic starting point of our application. So before running the application, we need to download 2 packages. So for that, I will open a terminal, and inside terminal, I will use Flutter Command command, and the name of the package are HTTP. This one is to make the HTTP request over the internet and to fetch the results, or if you want to post any content to any URL or something like that. And next one is the URL launcher. Okay, so these packages had been added. We can run Flutter run command, which will start our application into this emulator. So it will take time if we had created new project. So let's wait. Okay, as you can see, our application has been successfully built and installed on this Android emulator. So what I will do, I will create 3 folders. First one is for screens, next one for model, and another one for creating components. Okay, so inside screen, let's start with category screen, where we are going to display all the categories. So it will be an stateful widget. Okay, So to display the categories, as we had mentioned that we need to create a model, which is the category model. So inside model, I will create a file, name it as category. Okay, it will be a simple class. It will have three properties or three attributes, that is title, then it will have an ID, and next one is the image URL. Title one is the attribute that we display on the card. ID is if we select the business category, then it will contain the business as an ID so that we can pass it inside the news API so that we can get all the business related news. And the image URL is to display the images on the card. So we need to create a constructor, and inside this we need to pass all this title, ID, and image URL. Okay. So we had created the category model. Then inside category screen, first let's create a list of categories. So for that it will be a final list, and the list will be of categories. So let's use category here. Okay, and we need to import this category. It is not showing suggestion. So let's side model, there is category dot dot. Okay, we had created a simple list. Then we need to create 6 categories. So first one is the business. Title will be business, then ID will be the business one only, and the URL we can pass it later. Okay, so same thing we need to do for 6 categories. So I'll copy this code. Okay, so I had created 7 categories and added the image URL too. You can add any image URL from Google. Okay, so after defining this list, we can start working on the coding part. So here it will return a simple scaffold widget, and inside scaffold there will be an app bar. So it will have a title of text. Let's name it to category. Okay, then after that the background color, let's give it some gray. Okay, then after that let's create a body for this widget. It will be a padding, and the padding for that will be ageinserts.all. Let's assign the value as 10.0. Okay, then we are going to use the grid view builder to view the elements in the form of grids. So it will be grid view dot builder. and the item count for that will be the categories that we had created, list dot count or length. Okay, and inside grid delegate we are going to use silver grid delegate with max cross axis intent. Okay, so it will have values as max cross axis extent of 200, then child aspect ratio as, let's give it to 1.2. Then it will have a cross axis spacing as 10 and main axis spacing as 10. Okay, and after that we need to create an item builder. So for that, let's pass context and index. It will create a final category is equal to category index, and it will return category card. So let's design the category card. So inside component we are going to create another component called as category card dot dart. So this category card don't need to be a stateful widget, so we can use a stateless widget. Okay, it will be a category card. It will accept three attributes. So first one will be the final string ID. Next one will be the title, and last one will be the image URL. Okay, so we need to let them sort title and image URL. Okay, so we had created a stateless widget. Now let's create a build widget. So for that we are going to use inkwell. Okay, and inside inkwell there will be a child. It will be of container, and let's give some padding to the container. So it will have an age insets of 8. Give it as 8. Then it will have an decoration of box decoration. Okay, color will be color dot white. Then border radius, dot circular, let's give it value as 15. Then it will have an box shadow. So for that we need to create box shadow. In that we are going to pass color. Let's give it as colors dot black. We'll create some opacity. Then it will have an offset of 0,4. Figuring offset, let's give it the blur radius as 8. Okay, we had designed the decoration, then we need to design the child for this card. So it will be the column. We are going to display widget one after another. Then inside column, there will be property as cross-axis element alignment. We need to pass all the elements to start. So we are going to use cross-axis element dot start. Then it will have a children. So for that we are going to use clip react. Clip react. It will have an border radius. Okay, it is clip r rect. It will have an border radius of circular. Let's pass the value as 15. Then it will have a child. It will contain the image from network. So we are going to use image.network and we need to pass the image URL here. Okay, and let's provide some other properties too for this image.network, which will be, it will have an height of 100. Then it will have an width of double dot infinity. It will take all the width present. Then we'll use the fit property, which will be box fit dot cover. Okay, and after the clip react, we are going to use a sized box to present, to give some spacing. It will have an height of 10. And after that we are going to use text widget, where we are going to pass the title. Then let's give some style to the text widget, which will be text style, and font size of 20. And color, we will use color dot black 87. Okay, and the text align will be left. Okay, we had created category card, and let's add some additional thing, because if we click on the card, then we need to go onto the new screen. So let's design that method later, but first we'll try to check whether this category card is getting rendered properly or not. So inside return we are going to use category card, and we're going to pass cat id. Inside image URL, cat.image URL. Okay, so let's try to restart the application. Okay, it will show the home screen because we need to make changes in the main.dart file. So for that, uh, remove this comments, and then I don't need this home page, so I can remove it whole. And inside home, we can pass category screen. Okay, now let's try to reload the application. Yeah. So as you can see, the 7 categories has been appeared here. Now we need to do one thing, that when we click on this category, we need to be redirected toward the uh, news screen where all the news will be displayed. So as we had used Inkwell, so there is a property called onTap on that Inkwell where we can write the logic for that. So inside category screen, inside category card, uh, we can create a function called as void. Let's name it as select category, and where we need to pass context. Here we are going to use navigator of context, so it will be ctx, and then we'll use push named. So for root, let's name it as new screen. We will name it later. And then the arguments will be ID and title. So for ID, we're going to pass ID. Same thing for title. Okay. We are passing arguments because when we click on this card, then the ID will be passed to, suppose for business, there is ID called as business, then it will be used in the API to fetch the appropriate news. So we are passing arguments for that. Okay, we are done this thing. Let's create routes here. So it will be a map for news screen. We need to create a new screen. It will be a curly braces. Okay. So inside screen, let's create a new screen. It will be a stateful widget. Okay. We'll return a scaffold. We'll have an app bar of title. Okay. So we are taking the attributes from, we are passing as an argument. So what we can do, we can, as we are passing the arguments as inside the navigator, we can fetch all those arguments. So for that, inside this build method, we can use final root args, and we can use model root of context, and there we need to first um, make it as map of string comma string. Then we'll use settings dot arguments as map. Okay, it throws an error that setting cannot be null, so we can use a null check operator. We had get the root args. We need to then retrieve it. So for category, we will use, we had named it as ID. So for that, we are going to use root args, and we had named it as ID. Let's convert it to string. And same thing for title will be root args. Okay. So inside title, we can directly use now title inside the text widget. Okay. And let's design this body later to check whether it's working or not. So it will be a new screen. The name should be same that we are using inside roots, and the way we are going to click it. Okay. So let's try to restart and see whether it works or not. As we click on this business, okay. Inside the inkwell, we need to pass the name of on tab, and it will be select category. Yeah. Let's try to restart the application. If you click on business, then we will be redirected to the new screen where all the business news will be displayed. Okay, so till now we had done the categories work. Now we need to work for this new screen. So inside new screen, what we are going to use, let's use, let's create body here. So for body, we are going to use center widget, and it will have a child of future builder. Okay, so what is the future builder? It says that the content is not going to be fetched immediately. It will take some time. So it is an asynchronous operation, and we need to keep an eye. As soon as we get a content, we need to display it. So as it is an asynchronous operation, so the content we are going to fetch, it will be fetched in future. So we are using this future builder method. It will keep an track of on the content, and as soon as the content is fetched, it will be displayed. So for that future builder, there will be a method called as future, when where we need to paste the data that we are going to get in the future, and there is a builder. Once the data is fetched in the future, then we can render it. So let's create a future method. So it will be a future list, and it will be of dynamic type. Then let's name it as get data. Okay, so it will be an async await operation. Inside this future method, we are going to use that HTTP package. So we need to import that HTTP packet. So for that, it will be a package HTTP dot, and let's import it as HTTP. And inside this future list, we can use it HTTP dot response as response, and then we can use response is equal to HTTP dot await, sorry, HTTP dot get here, as it is an await operation. So we are going to use await, and inside URL we are going to use URI dot pass. So let's pass the URL. So it will be this URL, and inside category, here we need to pass the category that we want. So we had named it as ID, so we'll be using ID here. Okay, and then we need to return it in a form of JSON decode. So it will be response dot body, and as you can see the response of this API. So we need these articles where all the data will be present. So we are going to pass articles here. Okay. So inside future, we can use this get data method, and then inside builder, we can create context and snapshot. Snapshot will be the snapshot of data. So we can put a check if snapshot has data, then we can return the body. So for that, we are going to use padding widget. It will have an padding of 8, and then let's create a list view, because the news we are going to display it in form of list. So it will be list view dot builder, and the same thing that we need to do in the list view dot builder. First we need to pass the item count, which will be snapshot dot data dot length. Okay, and then we need to use the item builder. So same thing, snapshot and index, and here let's fetch the content from that snapshot, which will be snapshot dot data for that particular index content. Inside this response, we can see there is a content, there is a title, there is a description, and there is an image URL. So we need to fetch all these things. So for that, first we had fetched it for content. We need to use the null check operator here. And the same thing we need to do for the title, description, and image URL. So here we can use title, then description, and URL, which will be an image URL. So here it is URL to image. Yeah, so I had created the properties URL to image. This URL will be the news URL, I guess. Okay, and for now let's return a text widget to check whether it is working or not. It will be content, and we had used the condition if snapshot dot has data. So suppose if snapshot doesn't have an data, so in that case We need to return the loading indicator. It will be a circular progress indicator. Okay, I think it will work. So let's try to do a hot restart. Yeah, if we click on business, it throws an error. Okay, we had done a simple mistake here. We need to pass the content. We had passed context here. So we can use content, and when let's restart the application. As we click on business, then yeah, you can see the content has been appeared of all the news here. So for that, our API is working. Now we need to create a news cart where these news can be displayed in a systematic way. So for that, inside component, I will define another component which is news cart dot dart. So it will be stateless widget. Here we are accepting 4 attributes. So it will be a final string of title, then final string of description, and it will be a content, and then final string of URL. Okay, same thing. We need to start. What I had added here, it will be image URL. Okay, so let's design the category card. It will be an container. Inside container, we are going to use some margin. So let's use a symmetric margin. For horizontal, let's give it 15 and vertical 10. After that, it will have a child of card. Okay, so the shape will be rounded rectangle border, and inside that the border radius will be circular. So let's pass the border radius as 15. It will have an, let's give the shadow color. So it will be black, and the elevation will be, let's give it as 6. Okay, so it will have a child which will be the column, and inside column we are going to use cross axis alignment, which will be start. After that, for children, let's use the clip r rect. For image 1, it will have an border radius of, let's give the border radius only, and inside only the top left will have radius circular 15, and same thing for top right. Okay, after that border radius, it will have a child. So we are going to use image, same thing, network, and the src will be the image URL, Then it has some additional properties where width will be double dot infinity, and it will be small letter. Okay, width will be double dot infinity. Then it will have an height of 200, and let's use the box fit. We can use cover. Okay. While we are fetching many news, sometimes it happens that the image URL is not valid or the image is not getting loaded properly. So for that we can create a builder, error builder, which will display some another image in place of that. So here we need to pass the context, then the error, and next one is the stack trace. Okay, and it will return the same thing image.network. So I can copy this whole, paste it here. Okay, format the document. Yeah. So in case if image doesn't load properly, we can use an error builder where we can pass the image URL that we want. So let's go on Google and search image not found, and you can use any image. So I'll copy the image address and paste it here. Okay. So we had you done the clip react part. Now we need to use the padding widget. Let's give padding as 15. It will have a child of column. Then inside column, same thing, cross-axis alignment will be start. And next thing is that uh, we are going to use children. So first one will be the title, then description, then content. So the children will be text. It will have an title. Let's give the style as text style. So inside text style, the font size will be 20. Font width will be bold. Yeah. Then after that, we can use a sized box to give some gap between them. So let's give the height of 10. Okay. So need to place it below. Let's format the document. Okay, it's looking better. The same thing we need to do for the content and description one. So I'll copy this whole thing, paste it here 2 times. Okay. So as we had used for title, then we need to use for it description. Font width will be 16, and for content, it's getting written as content, it will be 17. Okay, for content we don't need that bold letter, so we can remove it. And for description also we don't need it. We can use font color plus dot gray, and let's give it as 600. Okay. think it will work. The news cart has been done. So we need to use this news cart in the news screen. So here inside news screen where I am returning the text, I can use news cart, and the URL will pass it as URL. Okay. Let's try to restart the application and see whether the things are working or not. So if I click on business, yeah, the business news are getting displayed. We load it. Yeah, if suppose the image is not getting loaded, then it will show the optional image that we had added in the error builder thing, that is image not found. So in this way, the application will not get crashed and it will run smoothly. Yeah. So in this way, our app is working completely fine. We had designed a simple news app. Let's take an overview. We had created two components, category card and news card, for showing the data in a form of cards. Then we had designed two screen, category screen and news screen. Then we had created a model, category model. We are going to store the information related to the categories. And in this way, we had designed this application. So subscribe to my channel for getting updates related to various coding frameworks. So we'll meet in the next video with some interesting project. Thank you.